All right, ready to dive into something kind of huge. We're tackling Alex Hormozi's $100 leads today.
Definitely huge and packed with practical advice.
Seriously, this book is like a gold mine for anyone who wants more leads, to actually grow their business.
And the best part is, Hormozi cuts right to the chase, no fluff.
Okay, so what's the big secret?
You need a killer offer first. He calls it your grand slam offer. Nail that down, and then it's all about getting it seen.
By the right people.
Exactly, your leads.
He even tells this crazy story about launching gyms, like guaranteeing he could fill them in 30 days or they don't pay. Bold move.
Totally bold, but it shows he gets it. His real talent wasn't running gyms, it was bringing in the customers.
And that's where lead magnets come in, right? Those irresistible freebies everyone talks about.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Hormozi breaks them down into 3 types. Makes it super practical.
Like imagine scrolling and bam, you're hit with an article revealing a problem you didn't even know you had. That's awareness building right there.
Exactly. Shining a light on those hidden pain points. Then there's a sample or trial, a taste test to get you hooked.
Free chapter of a book, sneak peek at software features, that kind of
You
thing.
got it. Makes you want more.
And then there's the one step and a multi-step process. It's like, here's a killer workout routine, but if
Yeah.
you want the full program,
It's brilliant. Give away the what, but sell the how.
give away the secrets, but sell the implementation, right?
Right. Because it's the value you provide that builds trust. And that leads us to the core 4 for getting your lead magnet seen.
Okay, lay on me, what are the core 4?
Think of it as your direct advertising toolkit. Warm outreach, content posting, cold outreach, and paid ads. We could start with something a little less intimidating, especially if you're just starting out.
Yeah, let's start with something a bit more approachable.
Warm outreach, tapping into the network you already have.
So past clients, colleagues, even friends and family people who already know you.
Exactly. And Hormozi gives this super practical ACA framework. Acknowledge, compliment, ask, makes it feel natural, not salesy.
So much better than a generic, hey, buy my stuff message.
Hmm.
So how does that work in practice?
Okay, so you start by acknowledging something specific about them or their work. Then you compliment a related skill. And then you seamlessly transition into a question that leads to your offer.
Okay, I'm liking this already. It feels so much more genuine.
Right. It's all about building relationships. But let's move on to content posting.
This one can feel overwhelming, right? Like, where do you even begin with all the platforms and formats out there? It's a lot.
It can definitely feel overwhelming. But Hormozi simplifies it with his hook, retain, reward framework.
Okay, so break that down for me.
So you need a hook to grab attention, obviously. It could be a compelling headline or a question. Then you got to keep them engaged with storytelling, examples, maybe even lists. And then you reward them by delivering on that initial promise from the hook.
And he's big on tailoring the format to the platform.
Oh, absolutely. Like you wouldn't post a wall of text on Instagram, right?
So you got to have visuals, maybe some memes to grab attention on a platform like that.
Exactly. It's about knowing your audience. And this is where understanding your constraints comes in.
Constraints. Like, what do you mean by that?
Think of your advertising funnel, right? Like a leaky bucket.
Okay, I can visualize that.
You can keep pouring effort in, but you'll see way bigger gains by fixing those leaks, those points where you're losing the most leads.
So it's not always about doing more, but about doing things more effectively.
Exactly. It's about working smarter, not harder.
Love that. So speaking of funnels, what about cold outreach? I know that one can feel intimidating, especially if you're new to all of this.
It can feel like venturing into the unknown for sure.
It can feel like walking into a room full of strangers and trying to strike up a conversation.
And sometimes, even when you think you've nailed it, you haven't. Even Hormozi had some early hiccups.
Really? Mr. $100 leads himself. Tell me more.
He tells this hilarious story about his first Facebook ad. It was so bad, he calls it ugly. But guess what? It worked.
Sometimes the most unexpected approaches can be surprisingly effective.
Exactly. But you have to be willing to experiment, to track your results, and most importantly, to learn from your mistakes.
So starting with tracking ensures you're gathering those valuable insights from day one.
Absolutely. You have to know what's working and what's not. And as you test different approaches, losing some money along the way is just part of the process.
It's like paying tuition for a valuable education.
Exactly. Think of it as an investment in your future success. But before we jump into paid advertising, let's unpack each approach a bit more. Let's start with cold outreach. What do you think?
Cold outreach. It sounds kind of like, cold calling.
Yeah, kinda, but it doesn't have to be that way. It's really about connecting with people who haven't heard of you yet, but who could totally benefit from what you offer.
So how do you do that without sounding like, well, a robot just spamming people?
It's like, imagine you're at a networking event, right? You wouldn't just walk up to someone and immediately launch into a sales pitch.
No way.
Okay.
You try to find some common ground first.
Exactly. You chat, build rapport, then maybe ease into what you do. Cold outreach online, it's the same idea.
So it's about personalization, making it feel like a genuine connection, not just a mass email blast.
Exactly. Like, let's say you're a web designer, right? And you come across a business owner who's mentioned wanting to revamp their website. You wouldn't just send a generic, hey, I can build you a website message.
You'd want to tailor it to them, their business.
Exactly. Acknowledge their goal, maybe compliment their brand's aesthetic, and then offer something valuable like a free website audit.
Okay, I like that. Position yourself as a helpful resource, not just someone trying to make a quick buck.
Right. You're building trust. And that actually reminds me of something Hormozi talks about a lot, lifetime gross profit.
LTGP, right. I remember him emphasizing that.
It's huge. Most businesses get so caught up in the cost of acquiring customers, but they forget about the bigger picture.
Which guy?
How much profit each customer generates over their lifetime, not just from that first sale.
So it's about building relationships that last, that keep those customers coming back for more.
Exactly. It's about playing the long game. And Hormozi actually gives this great rule of thumb. If your cost to acquire a customer is like 3 times more than the industry average, you need to work on your advertising.
Okay, that makes sense. But what if it's below that?
Then it's time to level up your business model. Focus on increasing that LTGP.
So it's like knowing where to focus your energy for the biggest impact.
Exactly. Now, speaking of challenges, let's talk about cash flow. How do you scale your advertising when you're not exactly rolling in dough yet?
It's a common struggle, especially when you're just starting out.
For sure. But that's where this idea of client-financed acquisition comes in.
Client-financed acquisition.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to have to break that one down for me.
Basically, it's about structuring your offers and payment terms in a way that your customers are essentially, well, financing their own acquisition.
I'm intrigued, but I'm not sure I totally follow.
Okay, picture this. You offer a service, right? Let's say it costs $1,000. But instead of demanding the whole amount up front, you break it down into, say, 4 monthly installments.
Makes it more manageable for the customer.
Exactly. And it creates this steady stream of revenue for you.
Which you can then reinvest back into your advertising.
Bingo. It's like a self-sustaining growth engine. And speaking of growth, let's talk about leveraging other people's audiences.
Ah, you mean affiliates. This is where it gets really interesting, but also kind of mysterious, you know?
I get it. There's a lot of hype around affiliate marketing. But Hormozi breaks it down into a 6-step process, makes it super actionable.
So step 1.
Find businesses that align with yours. They've got the audience, you've got the offer.
A match made in marketing heaven.
Right. But you got to craft a compelling offer, highlight the benefits for them, make it a win-win.
Because it's a partnership, not just a one-way street.
Exactly. Then comes the fun part, the launch.
Okay, this is where the marketing magic happens.
Think of it like this. Whisper, tease, shout. You subtly mention the program, then tease early access, then bam, full-blown launch announcement.
Got to create that buzz, that excitement. But how do you actually integrate your offerings into their existing business?
Could be as simple as giving away your lead magnet as a bonus, or promoting your core offer as an upsell.
So you're basically weaving your products or services into their customer journey. Smart. But what about building your own team? I feel like that can be a scary step for a lot of entrepreneurs.
Oh, for sure. It's a big decision. But it's also crucial if you want to scale, really grow your business.
Because you can only do so much on your own, right?
Exactly. And Hormozi talks about employees as an investment in leverage.
Love that. It's like that saying, give me a lever long enough and I can move the world.
Right. Employees can multiply your efforts, but you have to train them effectively, turn them into lead-getting machines themselves.
So how do you do that?
He's got this 3-step process. Document, demonstrate, duplicate.
Okay, I'm all about simplifying things. Tell me more.
First, document your processes, like break them down into clear steps that anyone can follow. Then you show your team how it's done, the what and the why.
Don't just tell them, show them.
Exactly. And finally, you empower them to duplicate those processes, creating a system.
So it's not just about you doing everything. It's about building a system that can run smoothly, even when you're not there micromanaging every step.
Exactly. It's about working on your business, not just in it. Now, before we move on, let's touch on that 1-page advertising plan that Hormozi lays out in the book.
Oh yeah, I was hoping we'd get to that. It's pure gold.
Right. So simple, yet so powerful.
Okay, walk me through it. Where do we even begin?
First, decide who you're targeting. Customers. affiliates, maybe even potential employees or agencies.
So it's like choosing your lane, focusing your energy on a specific target audience.
Exactly. Then you got to decide on your commitment level. Two options here. The rule of 100 or open a goal.
Okay, I love having options. What do those look like?
So the rule of 100 is all about committing to 100 specific actions, like sending 100 emails, making 100 calls, posting 100 pieces of content. Do you get
I
the
have to
idea?
get the concrete, measurable.
Right. And it builds momentum. Now, open to goal, that's more fluid. Do as much as you can until you hit a specific outcome.
So less about the number of actions, more about the results.
Exactly. And once you've nailed down your target and commitment, it's time to fill out his advertising checklist for your chosen daily action.
So like if I'm doing cold outreach, I'd use the checklist to write my email scripts and figure out who I'm sending them to.
Exactly. Or if you're focusing on content, you might brainstorm topics, plan out your content calendar.
It's like having a roadmap, a clear plan of attack.
Exactly. And then comes the most important part, actually taking action.
Right, because a plan without action is just a daydream.
Exactly. Show up every day, even when you don't feel like it. Consistency is key.
The marathon, not a sprint.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And once you start seeing results, it's time to scale up.
Bring on the leverage, hire some help, expand your reach, all that good stuff.
Exactly. You've built a solid foundation, now it's time to build your empire. But before we wrap up, let's talk about something that really resonated with me. Building a business that thrives on referrals.
It's like, that saying, the best advertising is a customer who tells a friend. But imagine if that was your only way to get new business.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Like, how much would you change what you do if you were completely reliant on word of mouth?
You'd probably obsess over every little detail, make sure every customer had an amazing experience.
Exactly. People don't recommend businesses they're just, meh about. They recommend the ones that blow them away, the ones that go above and beyond.
Ones that leave them speechless, like, you have to try this.
Exactly. And it's not just about the product or service itself, it's the whole experience, from the first interaction to the ongoing support.
So it's about sweating the small stuff, those little touches that make a big difference.
Right. You want those, I can't believe they did that, moments that customers just have to share.
Turning customers into raving fans, basically free walking billboards for your business.
Now, you might be thinking, my business isn't really built for referrals. But here's the thing.
There's always room for improvement.
Exactly. Even if you're using other methods to get leads, adopting that referral-driven mindset can completely change your results.
It's about raising your standards, pushing yourself to be so good, people can't help but spread the word.
Exactly. And that really sums up what we've been diving into today with the $100 made leads. It all comes down to that.
Crafting that irresistible offer, leveraging lead magnets, mastering those core 4 strategies. It's a lot to process.
It's a lot of tools for your toolbox, but the good news is you don't have to use them all at once. Start with one, master it, then move on to the next.
Take action, even small steps, every single day.
Yeah.
Because consistency, that's the key.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. There will be bumps along the way.
Absolutely. And that's what I appreciate about Hormozi's style. He keeps it real, he gives you the tools, but he also emphasizes the hard work involved.
So as we wrap things up here, remember, explosive business growth, it's within your reach. It's not about luck. It's about taking action.
Go out there, put this knowledge to work, and start generating more leads than you can handle. Until next time, happy advertising, everyone.